Well, as usual, I'm sitting here about to leave the qualifiers today. Give you guys an update on a few things. Qualifiers, I got a program for the races tonight. We'll go over that quick. The sale, I'm going to, we had a number of clients that have reached out and want to know what time I'm going to be at the sale tomorrow. I'd say around noon, I'll be down. We're going to video, Curtis and I are going to go down. We're going to video 10 or 12 horses. Now, I had reached out to everybody also the last week and said, hey, if you're interested in any horses at the London sale, let me know. It's just going to be hard for me to bid knowing that we still have to collect everything for Lexington, get Lexington paid, and focus on Harrisburg. And we have Indiana next week. We have had a couple of clients ask about Indiana. So I'm going to put out a video this afternoon telling everybody, I told everybody what horses I was kind of looking at the other day, so you have a rough idea. I told you that hip number 180 was a horse I was very interested in. Hip number 112, both of them are El Sanyo Dreams. Now, I'm going on their video, and it's not that I don't usually do this. I like the breeding. We had a client say hip number 112 doesn't have much breeding, but you have to look at the updated version. Very young mare, second foal. First foal was by a very unproven sire, let's say. Second dam, the youngest horse of the second dam, was one of the leaders in the grassroots this year, raced against Canadian Titan, and its name was Zeb's Fleur. Now $65,000, made a mark of 57-4, is a 2-year-old. So there is a little bit of speed early on in the dams, a little bit of money. No world champions, but at the same time, when I look at these two videos, very athletic looking horses I'm interested in. Anyway, we're talking about the qualifiers first. So qualifiers went decent today. A little disappointing, one of the horses. Not really disappointing, surprising, a little bittersweet, I guess. First qualifier was Cabernet. Cabernet qualified well. It was really, really windy. You see me picking dirt out of my eyes. It was really windy. The track was tacky. It wasn't a good track, which means a lot for what I'm going to say for the last horse that qualified. But Cabernet, that was a good mile, 2-1. She got locked in all the way down the lane, get out late, just got beat at the wire. Raced good, qualified good, mile and 2-1. We'll probably race her in London, not her first start, or Flamborough, one or the other. I don't think she's ready to tangle with the 2-year-olds, because there is a lot of 2-year-olds that are still at the end of their stake season. They might race them once or twice. I don't want to get in with one of those 2-year-olds that show 53, 54. So we're going to let the flames die down a little bit. Race her a couple of times on the B tracks, likely. Second was Final Answer. Now, I told everybody, I should have made a caveat last week. He won't run behind the gate on me. He did run in the last turn, and I think I have a little understanding why. So, set the table for you guys with Final Answer. Last year, he had a lot of issues. I think we've uncovered all his issues. We've treated them. Yes, he does have a little suspensory right hind that has plagued him. Didn't bother him today at all. The problem he has is a lot of the Yankee Glides, their feet are a little odd, different. That's why they have knee problems and foot problems, because of the way their foot are put together. His right front foot looks great. Left front foot's a little contracted. What I mean by contracted is there's less of it. So the one foot would look like a nice foot, and the other one just a little more narrow and contracted. So it can pinch and cause a little soreness. So I said to Jared when we were pulling up, I said, well, first off, he ran in the last turn. We get over the half quick. The wind was behind me at that point. So we get over the half a little quick. I tried to throttle him back getting into the last turn and just let him relax. I didn't really want to go much more than 59-2. We're already at the half in 58-4, 59-2, 59-3. Now, obviously, at the half, I'm saying to myself, 59-2, 59-3. I kind of got to look at the lines of the horse he was in with. He was going to win the qualifier pretty easily. But he got a little rolly in the last turn. I don't know whether he hit himself or what he did, but he rolled off. I've never seen him do that before in that area. I guess I should say training down, but not racing. But what I noticed going to the gate was the only place he looked sore to me was left front. A little bit left front on that contracted, kind of shelly-looking foot. So I'd said to Jared, maybe put a razor pad. We frequently wear these, especially on trotters. Also, Pine wears one behind where he had that curb crowd. It's just a little added support, and it's a pad that sits like a cushion on the inside on the back of their frog, and it just helps them with some of the concussion of racing. And I had said to Jared, take a look. The Yankee Glides have notoriously sore knees also. See if it's his knee. If it's not his knee, I put a razor pad on there. Bring him back here next week. Now, the only thing about making a break in his last two is he didn't have any strenuous miles, but he still got some gate work. So I was very happy with what he did coming out of the gate. Very happy in the mile. He steered good. Just rolled off in the last turn, which is odd. We can tighten his hobbles up a little bit, but I think maybe he just touched himself, or maybe that left front was just was a little biting him a little bit, and as I was sinking into him in the last turn, it just gave him enough hobble. He just kind of rolled off. You know, he's excited too. He's out there. As I'm trying to slow him down, he knows the head of the lane is coming. He's trying to explode forward a little bit. I think he just lost himself. But overall, I was extremely happy. Actually, he looked a lot better than I thought he would. I thought we won a mile in 2-1. He raced in the condition claimers. If we kept him sound okay, he looked like a decent horse today. I was really, really happy with him. And then last, we went to Oso Pine. Oso Pine, that was a big mile. The only way I checked the miles, look at my phone, 57 and a bit. On a miserable, windy, cold day. That was a big mile for that horse today. Best mile I've seen since probably his 2-year-old season. I know he's raced and won a race and whatnot. No, he didn't win a race, I don't think. He's raced and did what he could, but at the same time, wasn't awesome. A real abysmal year for Oso Pine, but a good qualifier today. I did make a change and move him to Carmen Osiello after the qualifier. I talked to Jason about it. Had nothing to do with Jason McGinnis. Obviously, Jason's had a tremendous year for us, racing a horse in the Breeders' Crown with us tomorrow night. But when it comes to Oso Pine, I want to keep him on his toes, right? We moved him to Illinois, to Angie. He raced a little bit better. We brought him back. He was sharp as a tack today. I want him on his toes, so we're going to move him over to Carmen. He's going to race him for the winner. Listen, we have a lot of 2-year-olds to train down. We have a lot of 3-year-olds coming back. And I think we can utilize our ability to move these horses around a little bit better. So Carmen Osiello will be training Oso Pine as of now. So he's heading to Carmen's barn. Now we got racing tonight. I got 6 to drive tonight. I'm gonna have to go home and do my stretches. Race 2, we have Caviar's Triumph. Obviously, we put him in for 15. He drew the outside. We're gonna have to find a better way to utilize this horse. Drawing the 9-hole at Mohawk every week is not going to help him. So we can either utilize his allowance, put him in for 12, or we can race him on a B track, maybe sneak him back into that optional 15 claimer. That might be helpful also. So we'll see which way we go with him. But for tonight, he's got the 9-hole. Raced well out of the 7-hole last week. If I can get away close, find a spot and hunt with him again, I think the key is going to be in the warm-up, in the post-parade, being able to keep this horse under wraps. I think tonight I'm just going to post-parade him, take him right to the outrider, and make sure he stays quiet on the track. Last week, it was a little bit of a handful for me out on the track. Being a handful for me means he has to take some of his energy out. He needs that in the mile, so we're going to try and keep a little quieter tonight in the post-parade. Then we go to race 4. Frontier Cruise is actually picked for 2nd. I would love to see his horse cross over quick. Last week he get jammed up all the way to the quarter, 26 and a piece. I would like to float him over the front easy, get away in the 2-hole maybe behind the favorite. He doesn't show a lot of gate speed, but you can be sure Paul's probably going to leave out of there with him. I don't see a whole lot of speed from the outside other than that horse. Maybe the 8 horse who also is bet down. This is a horse that parked me to the quarter in 26 and 3 last week. So we have some options here. I think Frontier Cruise is going to get away 2nd or 3rd. Love to see him finish up his mile. He's had a great end to the season. Here's a horse that has 7 out of 10 in the top 3 and approaching $20,000 made. We'd love to get a little bit more money on him before we turn him out. Next, we got race number 6. Race number 6. We have Enduring Strength. This is a horse coming off the virus. Still isn't 100%, I don't think. They said he coughed a little bit first of the week. Just took a long time getting over that virus. We've been running electrolytes into him to try and get him perked up, sharpened up, and over the virus. So we'll see how he races tonight. I would think we'll probably get away 2nd, 3rd, 4th, stay in and try and race him easy. There's a few legs of this, I believe. I want to double check, but that may change my approach to tonight's race also. But all I want to do is not bottom him out tonight. That's what I'd like to not do. So he's 5-1 morning line. Obviously a decent threat in here. I think that Enduring Strength, horse that made $27,000, had a pretty good year, and I think he'll finish off good. Race 7 is Lincoln James. What do I got to say about Lincoln James? I can't believe they don't even pick him. Are you well? Lincoln James, he's picked for 2nd up top, but not in the horse players. So Lincoln James raced unbelievably well last week. Probably similar tactic. Gonna stay close, maybe get away 4th or 5th. Angle him out, let him pace hard down the lane. This is a horse that raced like a monster last week, and I suspect he will again tonight. Then we have James is driving Sunshine and Shade, looking for a bounce-back performance. It's not easy to do Not easy to do this time of year coming off the virus, back in 7 days notice, so I suspect James will drive him accordingly. Still paced a mile 55 last week, last half 57.2, no slouch there. I think he's in where he can do some damage. Don't believe me, just watch. I'll be driving from the rail. You can be sure I'm going to be a little conservative with this guy. For those of you close to the Don't Believe Me, Just Watch group, you know this horse got very, very sick about 3 weeks ago. Lost some weight and was really, really kind of dead and lethargic looking. I shouldn't say dead looking, kind of tired looking and very lethargic for a couple of weeks. I schooled him the other day in 59. He was good. He's certainly not ready to pace in 53 or 54. I'd like to stay a little bit close. I see the 2 and 3 leave. If I could get away 3rd, 4th, and follow cover, we'd be all right. And I see Mario has one of his own horses. Now, this is a horse that a gentleman sent to Mario, and I said, listen, you're free to do as you wish. We just charge Mario with cost of feed and hay, and he actually has Merrimack Cheese. Schooled the other day rather well, so we'll see how he races tonight. So actually 3 horses out of 2 horses out of Mario's barn, one of ours, one of his, and then Kevin has Don't Believe Me, Just Watch with me on the rail. And then we go all the way to race number 9, where we have Elysium Lindy. This horse run for no reason the other night, seemingly. We changed some stuff on him for tonight, and we will see how he behaves. This is a horse that we paid $55,000 for Mr. Ganji in Illinois, and got off to a decent start, but it's kind of lagged a little bit in his last couple. A little flat when he finished 3rd, but kind of a crappy night that night. And then last week he made a break at the gate for no particular reason. We'll see how he behaves tonight. There's no gimmies in here for sure, so we'll see how he does tonight. Anyway, that's the racing for tonight. We talked about the sale. I'm going to be at the sale tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon at noon. Got some horses to look at. Obviously, I'm leaning towards, we have a number of pacers. So it would have to be the right value, right pacer, and enough people interested in that particular pacer for me to buy it. I know that we did have one client that was very interested in a couple of pacers, and I'll be following up with him today. Otherwise, we have about 10 or 12 to look at for you guys tomorrow, and we will be sending videos out. You already have a video. You know roughly who I'm looking at, what we're looking for. And then, of course, I got to make it back here tomorrow night for the Breeders' Crown elimination for Globetrotting. You don't realize how tough the 2-year-old filly division is in North America until you race them all on one race card. She's long shot, and she belongs in the long shot slot. But at the same time, as I said, we don't know who we're going to draw him with until they make the draw. And she's been a good filly for us all year. So I certainly don't have any issues with Globetrotting, how she's made out this season and what she's done for us. She owes nobody a nickel. So, and I believe she belonged in here. I wish we were coming in off a couple of good miles instead of a break and 2 schoolers, but I believe we managed her correctly heading into tomorrow night, and we'll do what we can do. You know, she's 12 or 15 to 1, I think deservedly so. She gets away well. Saw her last night at the barn. She was sharp as a tack. I happened to be going by the barn, so I stopped in to look at a couple of horses, and obviously she was one of them. Sharp as a tack, $8 supper, was bouncing around the stall, so I don't think she could be much better. It is the end of her year. It's the end of all their years, but these are the best 2-year-olds, at least in North America. So what happens, happens, but we'll all have a great night. You know, I had somebody message me yesterday and say, you know, you guys just don't have good horses at the track. I said, really? I don't really know what you mean. Well, you got one in the Breeders' Crown, but she doesn't belong. And, you know, you sure you race Lawmaker, White Tiger, but, you know, the horses you have aren't world-class horses. Okay. Last I checked, they weren't meant to be world-class horses. You know, here's the thing that I try to make people understand, and people just don't get this in their industry. You get it, because you're a part of it. People in this industry don't really understand what we're trying to build here. I can't go out with everyday people and buy the best horses in the world. You guys saw what took place at Lexington. And you guys, you don't have to be a mathematician to understand that a very small percentage of the horses purchased for a lot of money in Lexington actually make money, right? And it's not that we're here to make money, but I'm not here to lose everybody's money also. You know, sure, we're having fun. This is a stable built on disposable income for the most part. Sure, we do have some people that buy horses to make money in the stable because they know we've done good with some horses. And that's awesome. But for the most part, the bulk of this stable is built on discretionary funds, right? So Walmart didn't start as Walmart. Apple didn't start as Apple, right? Apple started in a garage. This is going to be a progression. The horses we had last year were better than the horses we had the year before. The horses we have this year hopefully will be better than the ones we had last year. It takes time, right? And it's not that I don't think our philosophy is flawed. I think we have a fantastic philosophy. Look for value and buy horses accordingly. Allow people to become members and participants of an industry we all love. Many of them that have some of them never even knew what horse racing was. Some of you out there watch this right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You didn't know what horse racing was until you met us. And that's the point of the stable. It isn't to have a horse 1 to 5 in the Breeders' Crown. Sure, I'd love to have a horse 1 to 5 in the Breeders' Crown, 3 to 5 in the Hambletonian. But we're not geared for that just yet, right? We're geared to have the best horses we can, have some fun, win some races. That's what we're trying to do. But along those lines, we're racing against Damien, right? The $1 million horse. We're racing against $300,000 horses, $400,000 horses. But you can. Sister Sledge proved that. There's another horse in there that paid $25,000 for. That is in the Breeders' Crown with Globetrotting tonight. Very, very nice horse. For those of you who have been with us long enough, I was so excited. The one horse I thought I could beat tomorrow night for sure, maybe not for sure, but I thought I could, was the horse James was driving. I looked close. I said, geez, I know that family. That's Leroy's Dream's sister that we're racing against. Aki Svanstedt somehow ended up with Leroy's Dream's sister. And for those of you who've been around long enough, you know I love Leroy's Dream. I had him 3 years ago, and I always love going with him just because he always tried, right? So anyway, getting back to that, you're going to have a number of people talk about, I hear a number of people talking, not intergroup, because you guys get it, talking about the stable and how, you know, we didn't buy the best horses 3 years ago, 2 years ago, or this year. They just don't get it, right? They don't get what we're trying to build here. We're trying to build a powerhouse stable, but we're trying to do it, trying to build a great house. We're just trying to do it one piece of wood at a time. And it takes time, and I think along the way, as long as nobody's losing a lot of money and everybody's having fun, and we all understand going in what we're doing and what we're here for, isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that what horse racing was meant to be? I'm sorry, I can't buy Damien. I can't buy the $1 million horses. Maverick, we're not buying Maverick. But we're trying to buy some horses that might beat them, and that would be fun. Along the way, race them accordingly, try and make some money. And this year, like last year, we have some very intelligent clients also that are helping us understand analytically where they believe the best place to go is, whether that means being even more frugal this year with our staking, which we likely will be, or whether that means buying horses for specific jurisdictions based on foals that are eligible in that jurisdiction. Somebody came to me the other day and said 86 less trotting fillies are eligible in the New York Sire Stakes this year than last year. May not mean anything to you, but that's a great stat. It's important. We want to go where everybody else is not, right? Anyway, things like that we are taking into account, and I'm taking very, very seriously. We do have clients I'm constantly in touch with talking about these analytics because it's important. I can tell you all about horses, but you always have to be learning in this game. The people that tell you they know, don't know. But the worst problem is they don't know they don't know. You always have to be learning. You always have to be changing. You always have to be trying to improve in this game, and that's something we're always trying to do, whether it's improving our website, improving our communication, changing the way we train horses like we did the Ontario breds last year. Had we not trained them the way they did, there would be no Frontier Cruise racing tonight, right? Our 2-year-olds wouldn't be able to race. They'd be exhausted like they were last year. So I think we made a positive improvement last year. We want to do that again this year with a couple of more horses, change things, the way we look at things, and see if we can continue to evolve as a stable. But as far as the funding goes, we're doing the best we can. And I think we are, again, looking at, hopefully, a horse or two that is of the higher price range in Harrisburg. I would like to race against those horses and hope to race against those horses from the first time the hammer drops. But that'll be based on our clients and what their comfort level is. As long as we go in to every opportunity and every proposition with open eyes and understand the risks that are involved in horse racing, I think we're much further ahead than most of the other owners that are in this game. So, that is my preaching for the day. That is my report on the qualifiers, my report on the races tonight, my report on the sale tomorrow, and a little preview of the Breeders' Crown. We look like we're 7th best. We're going to try and get away, have a little racing luck, and you know what? Regardless of what happens with that filly tomorrow night, I'm going to leave the racetrack with a smile on my face. This is a filly that we purchased very modestly and had one hell of a year and did a lot of good for us. So for those of you involved with Globetrotting, good luck tomorrow, and we're all going to need it. For those of you watching, thanks for cheering us on. And for everybody else that owns horses in the stable, whether they're 2, 3 aged horses or the yearlings we just bought, thank you very much. And very, very glad to have you along for the ride. Talk to you guys soon. It's a gloomy day here at Mohawk. We'll see how the weather turns out for the rest of the day. Take care.